Hello, everyone. Today I am doing day 3, the lecture for the human impact. This is independent, so you guys can always look at the PowerPoint slides to get all this information, or you can watch this video. Whatever you want to do, both work. So, human impacts on biodiversity. So, one of the commonality among our ideas about the causes of extinction is the roles of human. We are contributing to this. Okay. Look back at the causes of recent extinctions you listed in box C. Were any of them related to human activities? Okay. So these are some of the primary issues, things that are leading to biodiversity loss. Habitat loss. This means that we're taking over land that would otherwise be used for life, right? The organisms that live there. We plow it down for farming or housing or something else. That means animals that did live there and the fauna that did live there, the flora that did live there, plants and animals, they can't live there anymore because their habitat no longer exists. Invasive species is an animal that kind of takes over because it's non-native. Overexploitation, overtaking advantage of something. Pollution, producing waste and releasing in the atmosphere. And finally, climate change associated with global warming. We're affecting each of these in different ways. Okay, so habitat destruction. Look at this devastating image. This used to once all be woods, and now it's not. Okay, so all of the animals that lived here and all of the smaller plants that lived in the underbrush of these trees don't live there anymore. Now they are all trying to fight for resources within a smaller space. The elimination or reduction of a habitat and smaller habitats support fewer organisms. So because of that habitat loss, that means that some of the animals that live there likely died because their habitat, their food sources was gone, and they're now competing with other animals for fewer resources. Invasive species. So this is a ornamental bush that kind of just took over this whole area. Look, these trees are eventually going to die because this invasive plant is taken over. These were some sort of other plants that are just getting taken over. This plant is winning the resources because there is no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no natural predator or creature that would keep this in check. Because normally, wherever this species of plant is from, there's something that eats it or kills it off or does something to help keep it under control. But when you introduce it to a new area, the things that would keep it in check to help keep things balanced don't exist. So introduction of non-native species that are into an ecosystem where they cause ecological and or economical harm. Pollution. Pollution of the ocean breaks my heart. Look at this image. This poor little seal is caught in basically a floating island of trash that exists all over the ocean. Pollution is substance in the environment that can cause harm to wildlife, humans, and or ecosystems. Now, the different types of pollution, there's air pollution, there's water pollution, and then there's just simply waste being where it shouldn't be. This is another example of this. It's called, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And it covers 8.1% of the Pacific Ocean. This is twice the size of the United States. Pollution of air, water, and soil affects the health and survival of many species. Pollution can travel between ecosystems, land, and water, and some pollutants can travel long distances and affect multiple ecosystems. So just because we're littering here in the United States, for example, that doesn't mean that our waste isn't ending up somewhere else. I was reading something that says flip-flops lost on our coast are winding up in countries around the world because they get washed up on their coast after traveling through the ocean. 100 million sea mammals are killed each year from consuming plastic in the ocean. Look at that. Oop, that poor little birdie. Health effects of pollution. So air pollution, things go into the air, water pollution, soil contamination, all of those make their way into our body and can affect us in different ways. Um, I don't know about you guys, but when the big fire happened 2 years ago, the one around, I think it was around Thanksgiving time, and this most recent one where the smoke was really bad, that was a form of pollution in the air. Okay. All the smoke, and I experienced really bad headaches. Like I couldn't go outside. We had to change our air filter. Like it wasn't great. And that's just a very small example of what happens when you're breathing in bad chemicals or gases that you really shouldn't be. Population, back C. Too many humans equals increased demand for resources. Sorry, guys, it's really late. I'm doing this before class, the night before. More agriculture to provide food. That means we need to make more farmlands. That means we need to destroy more habitats. Increase fish to farm people. That means we need to fish more. Increase use of transportation. That means we need to produce cars. We need to produce roads. We need to use gas. Increased land uses means decreased in natural spaces. Humans are coming into greater, more frequent contact with previously wild areas with high biodiversity. So as we expand, we're always encroaching, on natural land. And we're going to affect their biodiversity. This often leads to habitat loss, pollution, resource scarcity, and overconsumption. Current practices mean the things we do to live our daily life increases CO2 from these activities. Another thing is climate change. Look at this poor polar bear, his home is melting. So climate change alters habitats, breeding times, hibernation, migration patterns, etc. So for example, on this polar bear, the surface that he lives on is literally going away. He is meant to live in the cold. He's meant to hunt the creatures that live on those surfaces. However, it's melting, and the creatures that live there can't live on it if there's no ice, and the polar bears can't hunt it. They can swim, but they're not aquatic animals. They still need to live on some sort of structure. Poor guys. They make me sad. Overexploitation. So shark fin soup is considered a delicacy in some countries. However, to get this, what they do is they find sharks. They fish for sharks. They pull them onto the boat. They cut off all of the fins, so the shark is now basically like kind of a bullet shape, and then they drop it in. They drop the shark back in the ocean with no fins, no way to move, no way to feed itself, and it just kind of slowly drowns. It's super sad. Harvesting species from the wild faster than the natural population can recover. Once again, I'm so sorry I'm doing this the night before. Please forgive me for the occasional yawn. This includes harvesting species from the wild faster than the natural population can recover. So, for example, if they're hunting thousands a week and only a couple hundred are born each week, eventually that's going to catch up, right? Over harvesting, overfishing, overhunting, poaching, etc. So the share of the world's private consumption. Okay, so the world's poorest consume. So the 20% of the world's poorest consume 1.5% of items. World's middle, 60%, and world's richest consume 76.6%. So individuals consuming way more resources than needed to survive, sometimes more than what is needed for a high standard of living. Do we need multiple laptops? Do we need multiple iPhones? Do we need multiple homes? Do we need multiple cars? We are living well beyond the basics that we need to survive. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, when we live in excess, that usually means that we're taking more than our fair share of the natural resources provided by this world. Human impacts. So the comparison of a woolly mammoth and an American mastodon. So this actually makes me really sad. So the mastodon was hunted to extinction. This little guy right here, look how cute he is. He's a furry elephant, guys. Elephants are my favorite. Mammoths went extinct due to a combination of hunting and climate change. So they're little furries, so when it got hotter, they would have struggled. And they would have been used for their, probably for food, and the fur to use for clothing and stuff. But both of these guys went extinct partially because of humans. Human impact. So this is the dodo bird. Every time I see this, considering how we just saw this guy, I always think of Ice Age. So the dodo bird is a skeleton cast and model of the dodo bird at the Oxford University based on how we think it would have looked. So I don't think that humans helped contribute to the dodo bird going extinct. However, hunting, habitat destruction, and introduction of invasive species all played a role in its extinction. Oh yeah, I guess we did participate in. For some reason, I keep on thinking that the dodo birds didn't exist when we did, but they totally did.
Some call me nature. Others call me Mother Nature. I've been here for over 4.5 billion years. 22,500 times longer than you. I don't really need people, but people need me. Yes, your future depends on me. When I thrive, you thrive. When I falter, you falter. Or worse. But I've been here for eons. I have fed species greater than you, and I have starved species greater than you. My oceans, my soil, my flowing streams, my forests, they all can take you or leave you. How you choose to live each day, whether you regard or disregard me, doesn't really matter to me. One way or the other. Your actions will determine your fate, not mine. I am nature. I will go on. I am prepared to evolve. Are you?
So the answer to that, unfortunately, is that if the world changed, our species likely would not be able to adapt fast enough. If global warming continues, our species likely will not be able to handle the increased temperature. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this summer it got to 115, 116 once or twice. I mean, at least once. I saw it on the thermometer at my house. Okay? If it gets warmer than that, will we be able to handle that? I don't know. Ecological footprints. So as the human population grows, concerns about Earth's carrying capacity for humans rise. Carrying capacity meaning how many humans with our lifestyles can we support? So, an ecological footprint is one approach to understanding the resource availability and usage. It is an estimate of the amount of land, water, and energy used to produce all of the things you consume. This includes food, water, fuel, housing, and waste disposal. It's a visual image for that. So if the Earth was divided equally by the global population, we would each have 2.1 global hectaacres. In 2006, the average ecological footprint was 2.6 GHA per person. In the US, the average is 9 GHR per person. So that means the US, we're living a life that is essentially unsustainable. Individuals more affluent or wealthy nations have the highest ecological footprints. We live more excessive lives. I buy a lot of books. I occasionally go to Starbucks that I don't need. I decide to go on a drive because I want to get out of my house because I've been cooped up for the last 6 months, very much like you guys are. Do I need to do any of those things? No, I choose actively to go purchase books, which uses more wood, more paper, gas to deliver the items, to produce the items. I drive my car unnecessarily. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person or that I'm bad. I'm a normal person doing normal things to make myself happy. And there is nothing wrong to do that. However, we should be conscious of what we're doing. Okay, guys, that's where we are done today. I'm so sorry for the occasional yawn. I am doing this Memorial Day night after my family was here. I thought I was going to be super pumped and energized. However, they just tired me out. Barbecuing, cooking, cleaning. We just had my sister-in-law and my father-in-law and father-in-law and mother-in-law here. But, you still got to clean, still got to cook. So it always takes up more energy than you think it does. But it's okay. I had a wonderful day with my family, and I hope you guys did too. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Goodbye.